Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on what time you're listening to this podcast. This is Cozy Time with Ryan, with your host, Ryan. Today we're going to be talking about a specific subject that I have been thinking about a lot in the past couple of months. We're going to be talking about 3 tips on how to become a more likable artist. Of course, I myself am in no position to say that this is the absolute truth and this is what you should do. I'm just here to give my humble opinion about what I've seen from my past experience that helps in becoming more likable to other fellow artists or to fans or to potential clients. Before we jump into it, today's episode is brought to you by anxiety. It's the thing that makes you go, am I worth it? And yes, you are. So, without further ado, let's get right into the episode. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Pablo Picasso. Of course, I just pulled that quote off the internet just now before recording this. I'm not that smart. I don't have these things memorized, but it does fall perfectly well within the context of my first tip, which is to be helpful. Being helpful to others. Of course, let me elaborate. By being helpful, for example, an artist that you might follow could post, let me say that you're the artist in this situation, and you posted an artwork. Like it might be some kind of digital painting, it might be something traditional, it might be animated, or anything. And someone might ask you a question, whether it's in person, through a direct message, through a comment, anything. They might ask you how you did this specific thing in your artwork. They might ask you like, wow, how did you do the shading? That's so amazing. How did you do that shading? What you could do to be helpful is actually give them pointers. Of course, I know that a lot of artists, especially like rising artists and young artists, make a living off of these types of questions. They might have their own online courses, or they might give professional advice in exchange for money. And that is completely understandable. But at the same time, you could be helpful by pointing them in the right direction. Of course, you're not obligated to like write out a whole essay about how you used that, how you created the shading, what types of brushes you used, or like, I'm just giving an example here. You're not obligated to do that, but you could tell them like, oh yeah, I used this brush, I used this software, I got inspired by this artist and their work. You might give them a link to a YouTube channel or a YouTube video, something that they could follow that you found useful yourself. You might give them a title for a book that you found useful, something regarding the same line of work that you did. And that would be helpful. That would be extremely helpful. It would mean a lot to the person that made that comment or sent you that message. You're not obligated to like open an online video chat with them and show them exactly how you did it. But what makes it all worthwhile is that you give them like the push they need. A lot of these times that people comment something like this, they're aspiring to be something close to what you do, close to what you've become. So more often than not, it would mean the world to them if you could just give them that little nudge, that little pep talk, that little something to keep them moving forward, to assure them that I did it and you could do it too. So I hope I made myself clear about my first tip: be helpful. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. C.S. Lewis. My second tip is being humble, or to put it more plainly, not being arrogant and cocky about what you do. It should go without saying that people generally don't like someone who is cocky, someone who is so full of themselves. And a lot of times, I don't want to bash any artists out there, that you do you, but a lot of times after an artist starts honing their skills and improving themselves a lot with what they do, they get into this vortex of thinking that they're so good, like they're so awesome at what they do, that everyone should know that. And since everyone already does know that, I should acknowledge that I am so amazing at what I do, and I'm going to show everyone that I am awesome. Nobody likes an arrogant artist. Goes without saying. Being cocky often repels people, repels potential clients. If you're a client and you're trying to commission someone, an artist, to do something specific in your mind, and you get that feeling that they're like, they think of themselves higher than you, without even knowing it, without even pinpointing it, you're going to be taken aback by their attitude towards this project. And you're going to feel that I don't really want to work with this person anymore. So there's a thin line between being confident and being arrogant. You can be confident. For example, say that someone gave you a compliment about an artwork that you did. They might say, "Wow, this is so amazing." The confident response would be, "Thank you so much. I love how it turned out." That's confidence. The arrogant response would be, "Yeah, I know," or something like that. It doesn't sit right with you. It doesn't sit right. And immediately you get the feeling that this person, this artist who you look up to, is like so high up on his horse that he thinks of his fans or his friends as people merely there to cheer him on. Of course, it's nice to be cheered on by your loved ones and people that surround you and your fans, who are most of them strangers. It's nice, but always remember, keep in mind that these people also have their own dreams. They have their own personalities. They have their own thing going on. Like, you're supposed to, what I think, you're supposed to like be on the same level with them, because they don't know you personally and you don't know them personally, but you should know that they are people at the end of the day. They're people who like to be treated well, who like to be respected. And being arrogant is like a huge red flag of disrespect. But don't confuse that with confidence. Like I said, be confident. Be proud of what you do. Show yourself. Put your work out there. Show people what you do, and don't be shy about it. Like, if you're working something that's a work in progress, share your progress and show them that this is what I'm working on. Ask them for feedback about what you're doing. Ask them to, not feedback as in like pointers on what you should do better, but ask them to engage, to share with you the feeling of your accomplishment. Don't just put it in their face and say, "Yeah, I did this. Yeah, it's awesome, right? I know, worship me." So that's basically tip number 2. Don't be arrogant. I think being nice is more important than being clever. Ricky Gervais. The third tip on my list is, to put it simply, be nice. Or, to elaborate more on that, to prioritize your clients' or fans' feelings. Let me give you an example about what I mean. Say that a potential client commissioned you to do an artwork, something that you do. The conversation might go as follows. "Hey, what's up? I really love what you do, and I'm so impressed by your art, and I would love for you to create something for me." That's the question. What would a good response be? You could say, "Yeah, sure, these are my prices." That doesn't sound really human-like. It sounds automated. It sounds like you're a robot. It's not that hard to be nice when someone is asking a question or like requesting something. Most of the time, when someone does commission you something, they'll immediately send a few details about the project that they have. Like they might say, "Hey man, I love your work. I'm thinking about creating an animated video. It's something that has to do with like mental health, and it's for a charity, and we need it in a month." All right. Some people might think that's not the most ideal thing to say, and of course, you will need a few more details about the kind of work that you'll be doing. But a good response would be, "Hey, I'm really happy to hear that. I'm glad that you like what I do. And to be honest, your idea is something that I would love to work on. So could you give me like a few more details so we could get to talking about the expenses, the deadline, and all that?" That kind of response puts the potential client in a higher place. Like they feel they're important to you. Like you're prioritizing their feelings, their project. A lot of clients would come to you with projects that are personal to them, especially like if they're simple commissions, something to do with something personal. A lot of the times it would be personal. So seeing a response from the artist that they show their project is important to them as well would be held extremely dear to their heart. Even if the project doesn't come to fruition, it doesn't complete, they'll still admire that you gave the time to appreciate what they offered. The conversation might continue. They might say, "Yeah, man, the video is about a minute long and I've got a budget of $20, fully animated frame by frame," which is, of course, ridiculous, but it's just an example. But in this specific situation, you might say, "That's too little. That's not enough. Sorry, I charge way higher than that. Please find someone else." Or something like that. That's not the ideal answer. Again, be nicer about it. You're pissed that someone would contact you and they've seen your work. They wouldn't have contacted you if they haven't seen your work, and you feel this sense of pride tingling, like you took an arrow to the chest and you say, "Nah, man, this is just too cheap. I'm way better than this." Of course, you are better than this, but there's like a million ways to show them that you are better than this. What you could say, "I understand and appreciate that you have a specific budget for this project, but I don't think I'm the best suitable candidate for you. What I could do is point you to someone else that might be more fitting." And oftentimes than not, this client will be happy with this response. Even though you didn't get to work together, they'll be appreciative that you'd consider pointing them to another direction, to someone fitting their budget more, even though I don't think anyone would work 1 minute animated video for $20. But for the sake of this example, they'd really appreciate it. A different example, let's say not a client, but a fan, someone who you don't know, someone DM'd you saying, like they sent you a post that you did, and they said, "Hey man, this artwork is so amazing. What software did you use?" Don't simply say like Photoshop. Don't say Illustrator. Just give it a bit more emphasis. Acknowledge the fact that they showed interest in your work. Tell them, "Thank you so much for appreciating what I do. It really means a lot to me. I used Photoshop for this artwork." So first, acknowledge the fact that they appreciated your work, then answer the question that they asked. So yeah, that's pretty much what I mean by being nice and like prioritizing people. Yeah, that's about it. Of course, you can't have a list without a bonus tip. So the fourth bonus tip for this list is, if you're an artist, don't give out advice or feedback if no one asks for it. You might see this a lot with some artists, that you might post something online or like show it to someone, and you just post it. Like you just say that, "Hey guys, look at what I did." And then someone might say that, yeah, but I think you should work more on the shading. Yeah, the coloring doesn't really match. Yeah, I don't think that, like, they might find a million things to say about your artwork. And that's not something that would be likable. You're not, if you're an artist and you do that, don't. Just simply don't give out advice. Don't say your opinion unless you're asked to say your opinion. If this person posted something online and they do really appreciate your opinion, they'll ask you to give them your opinion. They'd say, "Hey, I just posted this online. Could you give me your thoughts?" Or you might just simply, like, there's a saying that from Bambi. I think it was from Bambi. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But in this case, like, you could just simply use that online, like on social media. If you see something that you don't like, you don't have to comment. No one's obligating you to comment. You could just simply go past it and scroll down, not even liking it. They're not going to pay attention. But if you do have something nice to say, you could say, yeah, I love it. Yeah, this is so awesome. You could comment that. And then that person, if they really do appreciate your feedback, they'll contact you. They'll tell you, what do you think I should improve? What do you really think about this artwork? Then, and only then, are you allowed to give your honest opinion. Of course, be nice about it. Don't say, like, yeah, actually, this is just total bull crap and no one's gonna like it. Sorry, I was just being nice. No, that's not nice. You could use the handy sandwich compliment, which is to say something nice, then give constructive criticism, and then finish it off with something nice. And that's a sure way to get the person that asked for your feedback to appreciate your answer. So that's my fourth bonus tip. Anyway, I think we've reached the end of the episode, and I hope you found this useful. Of course, in the end, this is just my opinion. No one asked me to do it, but I'm saying my opinion anyway. You could use these tips or not. Just let me know if you found these helpful. Let me know if you have any tips of your own that you might share with other people. Just comment them, send them to me, post it online and tag me. I don't know. Whatever you find fitting. So, if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to share, subscribe, and like. Yeah, I mixed up the order. And check this out on other podcast platforms. I'm not sure which ones, but I'm pretty sure that you'll find them on most platforms. And let me know what you want the next episode to be about. All right? This has been Ryan with Cozy Time with Ryan, and I'll see you all in the next episode.